Hello everybody, thank you once again for tuning in to another video. This is an unboxing of some chess pieces that I purchased from Chess Bazaar. Chess Bazaar is a website that sells all things chess, similar to House of Staunton, although their variety isn't as large, although it is unique. You'll see that their quality is just as good as the set from House of Staunton. This is also a comparison video. We'll be looking at the set from House of Staunton next to this set. I decided to buy this set with the leather pouch. You can get the pieces on their own. You have the option of the leather pouch, which is not legitimate leather, but it is very nicely padded and fits all the pieces. Or you can get it with a box, a wooden box. Now the wooden box cost slightly less than the pieces themselves, so I decided not to get it. I do have the box from House of Staunton, and this is a set that I actually plan to take out with me and play against friends. So this is a set that will probably cop a little bit more of a beating, but I'm okay with that, so I decided to go for the bag. Now all the pieces come wrapped in styrofoam paper. I have seen an unboxing of Chess Bazaar pieces where the pieces used to come in a plastic box, but I guess to cut costs, this is the easiest option for Chess Bazaar. Now, I found that the pieces were in very, very good, perfect conditions. So wrapping them in styrofoam paper seems to work for them. And again, here you can see me cutting it with the knife, but I realize I can just push them out. This was a little bit safer. I almost snipped one of the pieces as well with the knife. So I recommend, just pushing the pieces out one by one. This is a set that has a 3.75-inch king, as you'll be able to see. It comes with extra queens. I will rarely buy a set without extra queens. I think this should be a standard for all websites, although I know obviously not all of them do this. Dal Rossi, for example, will not give you extra queens for promoting. But yes, this is a set that will come with a 3.75-inch king. And I went for the darkest black pieces, which are a rosewood. Now, the rosewood pieces, I believe, are a little bit heavier than the other pieces. Exactly the same weights in all of them. But I had a chat to Chess Bazaar on WhatsApp and asked for the weight of the king of this particular set, and I believe it's the heaviest one because of the wood that is used. The wood itself is quite heavy, additional to the weights. It makes this one of the heaviest sets in this category of the 3.75-inch king. Now you'll be able to tell as I go through the pieces one by one in a little bit later on that the knights don't have as much detail as my set from the House of Staunton, but there is a very, very interesting detail when we look at the weight of the pieces compared to those with the House of Staunton, and that's what we'll be doing now. Here is the House of Staunton set of pieces that I bought with the box, so we'll just take one piece from the House of Staunton and compare it to pieces from the Chess Bazaar set. Now I've got my little Hario scales there. Those are scales that I use for brewing coffee at home. They are quite expensive, but if you would like to measure the weight of your scales, just go ahead and buy a cheaper scale. Now, so these are the pawns. You can tell that the pawns from the Chess Bazaar are actually larger. The bishops are of similar size. The knights are of similar size. The rooks are of similar size. A little bit smaller actually on the Chess Bazaar. The queens, again, similar size. And the king is where you can tell the big difference. Now, here we are measuring the kings. We've got 64 grams on the Chess Bazaar set and 69 grams on the House of Staunton set. So the king is heavier on the House of Staunton set. Again, 64 grams on the Chess Bazaar. But let's take a look at the queens now. 58 grams on the Chess Bazaar set. And to my surprise, only 50 grams for the House of Staunton set. So let's take a look at every other piece now. That's the pawn from the House of Staunton set, going at 16.5 grams. And then we've got the Chess Bazaar pawn at 25 grams almost, 24.5. Every single piece in this set from Chess Bazaar, apart from the king, is actually heavier than the House of Staunton. So it's very interesting because maybe House of Staunton has decided, okay, we'll add some extra weights to the king, or maybe it's just because it's a taller piece. But every single other piece is heavier on the Chess Bazaar set, even though the king is shorter. The pieces are also of similar height. We can tell that the king is the only one the kings and the rooks are the only ones that are smaller in height, but almost every other piece is a little bit taller, if not the same height as the House of Staunton set compared to Chess Bazaar. Here we can have a very good look at that. Knights on Chess Bazaar is a bit taller. The bishop is only slightly taller for the House of Staunton set, similar to the rook. But the queens are of almost exactly the same height, and the king is obviously taller on the House of Staunton set. Here we have a 40 centimeter board. I think the pieces fit quite nicely on this board. It might not be the ideal board. I think I would need one that's a little bit bigger for these particular pieces. But just to give you a rough idea of how the pieces look in a board, this board I was able to sell on eBay not long ago. I will link my eBay in the comments. I do sell chess sets and chess boards quite often on there, ones that I find myself not using as often. Now, the pieces are again immaculate, and I really love the fact that they're heavier than the ones from House of Staunton because they were actually the same price as the ones from House of Staunton. Now, I guess that is making up for their size, maybe, but they are heavier, and I do like to play with heavier pieces. So let's take a look at the pieces one by one. The dark wood has a really, really beautiful finish to it. It's not too dark that you can't tell the details in the wood. It's not ebonized or anything like that. Let's take a closer look at the knight here. Again, beautiful, beautiful detail on that dark wood on the knight. Not as much detail as the one from the House of Staunton, as you could see earlier on. But I love the feel of the weight of these pieces. The bishops, when I was looking at this set, I wasn't too sure about just because of the large cut that they have in them. But in person, it doesn't make a very big difference at all. It looks quite nice, in fact. The king, being the tallest piece, is the heaviest piece. It's not the one that you'll be holding the most often always when you play, but the pawns as well, because they're heavier than the ones in the House of Staunton and they're moved quite often, it's got a very, very beautiful feel to it. Now, because of lockdown here in Melbourne, I haven't been able to use this set at all. I haven't used it to play against anyone, so I don't know the feel of it compared to the one from House of Staunton. But I can make the call now that I think I would like playing with this set better just because of the weight. The chess set from House of Staunton does have more detail, completely different wood though. But I feel that because of the weight of these pieces, I will enjoy playing with these more. Now this is the bag, again not legitimate leather, but it's a bag that is big enough to fit these pieces plus something else. If you had a small chess clock that you wanted to use, you could probably fit that in here as well. As you'll be able to see, the bag is barely 3/4 full with these pieces, so you could even leave these pieces at home and put other pieces in there. The House of Staunton pieces would definitely fit in here with the 4-inch king, and not a problem at all. Plenty of room in there for something else to fit if you really wanted to. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing video. Please stay tuned for more videos. Subscribe to this channel. and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers!